Okay, so here's something nobody tells you about narcissists. They don't actually care about you, like at all. They care about how you make them feel. You're not a person to them. You're more like a vending machine that dispenses attention and emotional reactions. And the second you stop giving them what they need, they move on to the next machine. I spent way too long thinking I could fix things with this person by being nicer or more understanding or just explaining myself better. I'd have these conversations where I'd lay out exactly how their behavior hurt me, and they'd nod along like they got it. And then literally the next day, they'd do the exact same thing. And I'd be sitting there like, did we not just talk about this? Did I imagine that entire conversation? But here's what I didn't understand. They weren't listening to solve the problem. They were watching me react because my reaction was feeding them. Every time I got upset or tried to explain or defended myself, I was giving them exactly what they wanted. And once I figured out how to turn off that supply, how to become the most boring, uninteresting person they'd ever met, everything changed. Not because they suddenly respected me, because I stopped being useful. Here's what's actually happening, and this is going to sound kind of dark, but stay with me. Narcissists need what's called narcissistic supply. It's basically emotional fuel, attention, reactions, drama, proof that they have power over you. Without it, they feel empty. So they go around provoking people to get reactions the same way you'd go to a gas station when your car is running on empty. You're the gas station. And every time you react with emotion, whether it's anger or sadness, or even trying to logic your way through an argument with them, you're filling their tank. The more dramatic your reaction, the better the fuel. They don't care if you're happy or sad or furious. They just care that you're reacting, that you're focused on them, that they're taking up space in your head. It's like they're emotional vampires, except instead of blood, they feed on your attention and the fact that you care. And here's the messed up part. Good reactions and bad reactions are the same to them. You yelling at them? Great. You crying? Perfect. You spending 3 hours explaining why their behavior hurts you? Even better. All of it is supply. All of it is food. So if you want them to lose interest, you have to stop feeding them completely. And I mean completely. So here's what you're going to do. And this is going to feel impossible at first, but trust me, it works. You're going to become the most boring person they've ever encountered. I'm talking aggressively boring, intentionally dull, the human equivalent of watching paint dry. There's actually a name for this technique, and it's called the gray rock method, but I hate that name because it sounds like something from a geology textbook. So let's just call it what it is. Becoming boring on purpose. Next time, they try to provoke you. And they will try to provoke you, because that's what they do. You're going to give them nothing. No emotion, no explanation, no defense, no reaction whatsoever. They say something mean, you say, okay. They try to start an argument, you say, if you say so. They tell you some dramatic story designed to make you jealous or worried or whatever. You say that's interesting, and then you change the subject to something incredibly mundane like the weather or traffic or what you had for lunch. You become a conversational brick wall, smooth, flat, completely uninteresting. Let me give you the exact playbook because this is important. They insult you. You don't defend yourself. You don't explain why they're wrong. You don't even look hurt. You just go, and then maybe you check your phone or look out the window like you're already thinking about something else. They tell you about the amazing time they had without you clearly trying to make you feel left out. You say sounds fun, and then you do not ask a single follow-up question. Not one. You let that conversation die right there. They try to pick a fight about something you did wrong. You say you might be right about that, and then you just stop talking. No buts. No howevers. No, let me explain my side. Just you might be right about that, and then silence. Silence is key, because they're sitting there waiting for you to engage, and you just don't. You've given them nothing to work with. No fuel, no supply, no reaction. You're a gray rock. You're boring. You're not worth the effort anymore. Now here's what happens next, and you need to be ready for this. At first, they're going to escalate. What? Yeah, they're going to try harder, because you just turned off their favorite vending machine, and they're not happy about it. They might get meaner. They might get louder. They might try to push buttons they know usually work. This is called an extinction burst, and it's the same thing that happens when you stop giving a toddler candy every time they throw a tantrum. They throw an even bigger tantrum to see if that'll work. But here's the thing. If you stay boring through the escalation, if you keep being that gray rock, even when they're losing their mind trying to get a reaction out of you, they give up. Because it's not fun anymore. You're not feeding them. And narcissists don't waste time on people who don't give them supply. They go find someone else who will. I tried this with someone who used to text me these long, passive-aggressive messages designed to make me feel guilty or defensive. Used to work every time. I'd write paragraphs back trying to explain myself or prove I wasn't the bad guy. One day, I just stopped. They sent one of their usual guilt trip texts. I wrote back, "Okay, thanks for letting me know." That's it. 4 words. 0 emotion. They sent another text escalating, trying to get me to engage. I waited 3 hours and then wrote sounds like, "You're upset. Hope things get better." And then I just stopped responding completely. You know what happened? They moved on. Within a week, they were bothering someone else because I wasn't giving them what they needed anymore. I became boring. And boring doesn't hold a narcissist's attention. The psychology behind this is actually fascinating. Narcissists have what's called an external locus of validation, which is a fancy way of saying they need other people to make them feel good about themselves. They don't have that internal sense of worth that most people have. So they're constantly looking outside themselves for proof that they matter. Your reactions are that proof. When you get upset, they know they have power. When you try to explain yourself, they know you care what they think. When you defend yourself, they know they got to you. But when you give them nothing, when you're just bland and uninteresting and emotionally flat, there's no payoff. It's like playing a video game where nothing you do makes anything happen. Eventually, you put the controller down and walk away. That's what narcissists do when you become boring. They put you down and walk away. Now let's talk about why this is so hard to actually do. Because it is hard. Your brain is screaming at you to defend yourself, to explain, to make them understand, to prove you're not the bad guy. That's normal. That's human. But here's what you have to understand. They already know you're not the bad guy. They don't care. They're not confused. They're not looking for information. They're looking for a reaction. And every time you give them one, you're teaching them that this works. You're training them to keep coming back. So staying boring isn't about them. It's about you breaking the cycle. It's about refusing to be someone's emotional snack machine. And yeah, it feels weird at first. It feels cold, like you're being mean or dismissive. But you're not. You're just refusing to participate in a game that was designed for you to lose. Here is your exact script for the next time they try to engage. They say something provocative. You say that's one way to look at it. They push harder, trying to get you to argue. You say, "I can see why you'd feel that way." They accuse you of not caring or being cold. You say, "I'm sorry you feel that way." And then you do not elaborate. Notice the pattern. You're not agreeing with them. You're not disagreeing. You're not giving them anything to grab onto. You're smooth. You're slippery. You're boring. If they ask you a question designed to trap you, you say, "I'll have to think about that," and then you never bring it up again. If they try to make you jealous, you say, "Good for you," and you mean it in the most uninterested way possible. If they're being dramatic, you stay calm. If they're trying to be charming, you stay neutral. No highs, no lows, just flat, just boring. I know what you're thinking. What if this makes things worse? What if they get really mad? Here's the truth. If being boring makes them angry, that's proof they were only keeping you around for supply. And, yeah, they might get mad. They might blow up. They might tell other people you're cold or mean or whatever. Let them. Because what they're really saying is, "You stopped giving me what I wanted, and I'm mad about it." That's not your problem. Your problem for too long has been caring too much about what they think and trying too hard to make them happy. Being boring is you finally putting yourself first. It's you saying, "I'm not your emotional support animal anymore. Go find someone else." Here's what I wish someone had told me years ago. You can't out-logic a narcissist. You can't out-love them. You can't fix them by being patient or kind or understanding enough, because they're not broken in a way you can fix. They're running a completely different operating system than you are. You think relationships are about mutual care and understanding. They think relationships are about what they can get from you. So trying to have a reasonable conversation with them is like trying to play chess with someone who's playing poker. The rules don't match. The goals don't match. You're never going to win. The only winning move is to stop playing. And stopping playing looks like being so boring they don't want to play with you anymore. So here's your homework. Pick one narcissist in your life. Just one. The next time they try to get a reaction out of you, practice being boring. Use the scripts I gave you. Stay flat. Stay neutral. Give them nothing to work with. It's going to feel uncomfortable. Your whole body is going to want to engage. Don't. Just be boring. Watch what happens. I'm willing to bet within a few interactions, they'll either calm down significantly because they've learned you're not reactive anymore, or they'll just stop trying because you're not fun. Either way, you win, because you're not wasting your energy on someone who sees you as a vending machine. You are keeping your peace for people who actually see you as a person. Here at Psychlapsis, we don't just talk about psychology, we make it make sense. If this helped you make sense of why nothing you've tried has worked with the narcissist in your life, hit subscribe. Because next week we're covering what to do if your parent was nice in public but mean at home. That two-faced thing that made you feel crazy. We're talking about it. You're not going to want to miss that one. Your future self, the one who's finally free from being someone's emotional snack machine, is thanking you for watching this. Now go practice being the most boring person alive to someone who absolutely deserves it. You've got this.